Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this Bhagavad Overview session. So we have last week we have completed chapter 16, and today we are hoping to do 2 chapters, if not 3. Could I request someone to just put a message that the session has begun, so that anybody who has forgotten can join it? Thank you. So, last session was last class was wonderful session. It was so beautiful. So where we saw how Lord personally apologized Kumaras, 4 Kumaras, for the offense committed by Jai and Vijay. I was discussing this pastime with my son Sumedha. So you know that this discussion between Jai Vijay and Kumaras happened at the 7th gate. We remember there are we heard that there are 7 gates when you enter into Vaikuntha, and the 7th is the last gate. So they have passed through 6 gates without any problem. There were doorkeepers everywhere. There were doorkeepers everywhere. First gate, there were doorkeepers. Second gate, doorkeepers, like that. But none of the doorkeepers stopped Kumaras. Only they were stopped at the 7th gate by Jai and Vijay. And the Lord glorified Brahmanas. So we also saw who is a Brahmana. A devotee is a Brahmana, not by birth, by quality. And that is very important. So Lord likes devotees, Brahmanas. And after that, we also saw that Lord awarded this punishment to Kumaras to leave Vaikuntha and come to material world. And we have also seen in one of the purports that it was Lord's desire, because no one falls down from Vaikuntha. It is only Lord's will and wish. And it's that these 2 gatekeepers fell down. And Acharyas have explained that when Lord desired to fight and that he can't do that in the Vaikunta. So he sends his own devotees to the material world. So he comes down and fights with them. And in that course, we also learn so many lessons, and there will be so many pastimes for all of us to thoroughly enjoy. And those pastimes acts as a panacea, a cure for all, a remedy, great remedy for all of us, for our conditioning disease. And Lord also said that this was foretold by Lakshmi, because when Lakshmi left Vaikunta, and when she was returning to my place, she was also stopped by this Jay and Vijay. So we know that this was also foretold, this behavior by Mother Lakshmi. And Lord said that you will remember me in enmity. And within 3 births, we have seen that you will join me in Vaikunta. So at the end, Lord Brahma tells the demigods that this was all the plan of the Lord. And you, just one second. My battery is running out. Let me just plug it in. Done now. Yeah. So this you all came to me to rectify the issue of darkness all over the universe. But this darkness is due to the pregnancy of Diti. But ultimately, this is the plan of the Lord. We also read that beautiful purport. So sometimes we understand the plan of the Lord, sometimes we don't understand the plan of the Lord. Prabhupada said, you have your plan, I have my plan, Lord Krishna has his plan, and Lord's plan is better. Whose plan is better? Lord's plan is better. So we don't understand many times the situation is, Prabhupada nicely gives, nicely mention that Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee. He was put into so many difficulties. And Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces, who chanted 22 hours a day, 192 rounds a day. Haridas Thakur, although he was born in the family of a Muslim, but he was a great devotee of the Lord. And then he also mentions about Pandavas. They were put into so many difficulties. We know that their good wife was, they tried to disrobe her in the assembly. So this was just a plan of the Lord. This was not due to karma. This was just Lord's arrangement. So as a devotee, when the reverses come in our own life, we should become strong, knowing that it is a plan of the Lord. That is very important. I said, my request was everyone should read that purport every day and memorize every single word of that purport. People often question many times. I've been questioned many times. Why am I going through this? Why other devotees are going through this? When they are chanting, when they are practicing devotion, why are they going through this? But it's Lord's arrangement. Also, sometimes Prabhupada said that Lord will give little misery to avoid a big misery. If one has, for one's karma, sometimes one will have to suffer a lot, but Lord will give a token of that misery, reduces the misery to a greater extent. Miseries are there. Even demigods, they have miseries. Just see, they went to Lord Brahma. Don't think that the demigods free from misery. So the miseries exist in the material world, in three worlds. The better thing is that we still progress. We don't stop our devotion. And that purpose is a very, very beautiful purport. So really, I was very much inspired from reading that purport. So let's get on. Let me grab my spectacles. So I will share the screen, and so chapter 17. Right. So could we ask, three devotees can read each 10 verses each. Sorry, 3 devotees, 10 verses each, please.
Prabhu, was it not chapter 15 we did last week? So should we not be on?
Oh, last week, if I remember well, we did chapter 16, Mataji.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Let me check. Yeah, definitely we did 16. 17. Yeah. Okay. Those who have not read in the last class can read now. Yes, Shashi Mataji.
I will start. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just 1 minute. Now, it's Canto 3, right? We finished that. Maybe this is a different version. So is it the second part of third canto?
Possibly, because we are, if have you got small books, Mataji?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you have to take the next part, probably next book.
And what is the name of the chapter?
This is victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of universe.
Okay, just bear with me.
Yeah. So third canto, chapter 17.
It's part 2, Prabhuji.
It's part 2. So part 1 is finished, means part 2.
Yeah, got it. The victory of Hiranyaksha, that's what it says, chapter 17, correct.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm not using the odd copy, so I'm looking at the screen. So it's good to actually have the physical copy, though. It's very good. So I'm very glad some of you are having a physical copy. It's really good. Okay, yeah. Shashi Mataji, please go ahead.
The demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu. Thus they all returned to their respective planets. Text 2. The virtuous lady Diti had been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children in her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after full 100 years of pregnancy. Text 3. On the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very fearful and wonderful, in the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between them. Text 4. There were earthquakes along the mountains on the earth, and it appeared that there was fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared, along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. Text 5. They blew winds which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and again, and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies and clouds of dust for their ensigns. Text 6. The luminaries in the heavens were screened by masses of clouds, in which lightning sometimes flashed as though laughing. Darkness reigned everywhere and nothing could be seen. Text 7. The ocean with its high waves wailed aloud as if stricken with sorrow, and there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. The rivers and lakes were all agitated and lotuses withered. Text 8. Misty halos appeared around the sun and the moon during solar and lunar eclipse again and again. Claps of thunder were heard even without clouds, and sound like those of rattling chariots emerged from the mountain cave. Text 9. In the interior of the villages, she jackals yelled potentially, vomiting strong fire from their mouths. And jackals and owls also joined them in their cries. Text 10. Raising their necks, dogs cried here and there, and now in the manner of singing and now wailing.
Thank you, Mataji. Another devotee, next 10 verses.
It doesn't matter. Can we?
Yeah, please.
What verse from?
Text 11 onwards, please.
11. From 11.
Hare Krishna. Text 11. O Vidura, the asses ran hither and thither.
Hither and thither.
Hither and thither in herds, striking the earth with their hard hooves and wildly braying. Text 12. Frightened by the braying of the asses, birds flew scattering from their nests, while cattle in the cowsheds as well in the woods passed dung and urine. Text 13. Cows terrify yielded blood in place of milk, clouds, rain push. The images of the gods in the temples shed tears and trees fell down without a blast of wind. Text 14. Ominous planets such as Mars and Saturn shone brighter and surpassed the auspicious ones such as Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, as well as a number of lunar mansions, taking seemingly retrograde courses. The planets came in the conflict with one another. Text 15. Marking this and many others moments of evil times, everyone but the four sage sons of Brahma, who were aware of the fall of Jaya and Vijaya and of their birth as Diti's sons, was seized with fear. They did not know the secrets of this portents and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand. Text 16. These two demons who appeared in ancient time soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They had steel-like frames which began to grow just like two great mountains. Text 17. Their bodies become so tall that they seem to kiss the sky with the crest of their gold crowns. They blocked the view of all directions and while walking shook the earth at every step. Their arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets and they stood as if covering the sun with their waists, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles. Text 18. Prajapati Kasyapa, the creator of the living entities, gave his twin sons the names. The one who was born first he named Hiranyakashipu, and the one who was first conceived by Diti he named Hiranyakashipu. Text 19. The elder child Hiranyakashipu was afraid of death from anyone within the three worlds, because he received a benediction from the Lord Brahma. He was proud and puffed up due to his benedictions, and was able to bring all three planetary systems under his control. Text 20. His younger brother Hiranyakash was always ready to satisfy his elder brother by his activities. Hiranyakash took
Hiranyaksha.
Hiranyaksha took a club on his shoulder and traveled all over the universe with a fighting spirit just to satisfy Hiranyakashipu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
There is plenty to read today. Okay, who would like to read next? Bhuneshwari, you want to read, or Madhavi Mataji raised her hand?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji, I can read.
Okay, Madhavi Mataji, you can read next. Okay. Bhuneshwar Mataji, carry on, please.
Sorry, I thought Madhi Mataji.
No, after you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Text 21. Hiranyaksha temper was difficult to control. He had anklets of gold tinkling about his feet. He was adorned with a gigantic garland, and he rested his huge mace on one of his shoulders. Text 22. His mental and bodily strength, as well as the boon conferred upon him, had made him proud. He feared death at the hands of no one, and there was no checking him. The gods, therefore, were seized with fear at his very sight, and they hid themselves, even as snakes hide themselves for fear of Garuda. Text 23. On not finding Indra and the other demigods who had previously been intoxicated with power, the chief of the deities, seeing that they had all vanished before his might, roared loudly. Text 24. After returning from the heavenly kingdom, the mighty demon, who was like an elephant in wrath, for the sake of sport, dived into the deep ocean, which was roaring terribly. Text 25. On his entering the ocean, the aquatic animals who formed the host of Varuna were stricken with fear and ran far away. Thus Hiranyaksha showed his splendor without dealing a blow. Text 26. Moving about in the ocean for many, many years, the mighty Hiranyaksha smote the gigantic wind-tossed waves again and again with his iron mace and reached Vibhavari, the capital of Varuna. Text 27. Vibhavari is the home of Varuna, lord of the aquatic creatures and guardian of the lower regions of the universe, where the demons generally reside. There Hiranyaksha fell at Varuna's feet like a low-born man, and to make fun of him, he said with a smile, "Give me battle, O Supreme Lord." Text 28. You are the guardian of an entire sphere and a ruler of wide fame, having crushed the might of arrogant and conceited warriors and having conquered all the deities and danavas in the world. You once performed a Rajsuya sacrifice to the Lord. Text 29. Thus mocked by an enemy whose vanity knew no bounds, the worshipful Lord of the waters waxed angry. But by dint of his reason, he managed to curb the anger that has sprung up in him, and he replied, "O dear one, we have now desisted from warfare, having grown too old for combat." Text 30. You are so skilled in war that I do not see anyone else but the most ancient person, Lord Vishnu, who can give satisfaction in battle to you. Therefore, O chief of the Asuras, approach him, whom even heroes like you mention with praise. Text 31.
Yes, please.
Varuna continued, on reaching him, you will be rid of your pride at once and will lie down on the field of battle surrounded by dogs for eternal sleep. It is in order to exterminate wicked fellows like you and to show his grace to the virtuous that he assumes his various incarnations like Vara.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Right. So we will read at least one purport from this one. So let me share the screen again. It is a beautiful purport, just one, at least one we will read. So we know the story in the previous chapters. We have heard how everything is happening. So demigods approach Lord Brahma upon seeing the darkness all over the universe. So they asked him to solve the problem, but Lord Brahma narrated this story of Jaya and Vijay falling down from Vaikunta and entering into the womb of Diti. And that is actually caused the darkness in the universe. That actually has impaired the light of sun and moon. And so this is the plan of the Lord. We can't do much. And so the first verse, it says here, after hearing from Lord Brahma, the demigods were freed from all fear. Yes, yes. So they were completely freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu. Thus they all returned to their respective planets. So Prabhupada writes a very beautiful thing in this purport. So when we have anxiety, when we have problem, when we are going through challenges, when we are in difficulty, what we should do? What should we do? When demigods were in difficulty, in fear, in anxiety, they approach Lord Brahma. Can we approach Lord Brahma? Yes, we can approach Lord Brahma. Or we can approach Lord Krishna. We can approach Prabhupada. We can approach the scriptures. What we do is when we go through problem, we don't approach anyone. So because demigods have approached the authority, then they could be freed from anxiety. But in the current society, people do not do this. They do not go to authority. Let's read this purport. Madhavi Mataji, you can read this purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. The demigods who are denizens of higher planets are also very much afraid of incidents such as the universe becoming dark, and so they consulted Brahma. This indicates that the quality of fear exists for every living entity in the material world. The four principal activities of material existence are eating, sleeping, fearing, and making. The fear element exists also in the demigods. On every planet, even in the higher planetary systems, including the moon and the sun, as well as on this earth, the same principles of animal life exist. Otherwise, why are the demigods also afraid of the darkness? The difference between the demigods and ordinary human beings is that the demigods approach authority, whereas the inhabitants of this earth defy authority. If people would only approach the authority, then every adverse condition in this universe could be rectified. Arjuna was also disturbed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but he approached the authority Krishna and his problem was solved. The conclusive instruction of this incident is that we may be disturbed by some material condition, but if we approach the authority who can actually explain the matter, then our problem is solved. The demigods approached Brahma for the meaning of the disturbance, and after hearing from him, they were satisfied and returned home peacefully.
This is a very beautiful purport and very instructive for all of us. So Prabhupada makes a wonderful point to the difference between the demigods and ordinary human beings. Demigods, they approach the authority, and the normal human being, they don't. Even Arjuna had difficulty. He approached Krishna. And so what we can do in our daily life. So one is we can open these books. These books are authority. So people ask, for Arjun, there was Krishna. Ooh, Krishna was not there for me. Or some people say, for Prabhupada's disciple, Prabhupada was there. But who is there for me? So I would say like this. One is, ideally, we should, when we are going through some issue, some problem, ideally, we should open up our mind with a senior trusted devotee. A trusted devotee. So you know that person who you can trust. You've seen him in his behavior over the years. How does this devotee behave in difficulties or like that? You can see that devotee's behavior, and that devotee that devotee you trust, you should open up your mind. Number one. Number two is, we should read these books on a daily basis. This is authority. When we read books, we also feel happy. Many times I've noticed that. Many times. Because when we are in problem, our mind comes into picture. Our mind overtakes us, dominates us. But when we read the scripture, we come to mode of goodness. Then when we are in the mode of goodness, we know what is what. We understand, yes, this is the plan of God. I need to go through this like that. So two things I would do. One is reveal the mind in confidence to a trusted devotee who is of a good character. And secondly, we should read and hear regularly, every day. Someone put in the chat box. Even Uttara also approached to Krishna spontaneously. Yes, so that's right. So here practical, the practicality for us. So Krishna was there in front of Uttara. She rushed towards Uttara. But for us, that the biggest problem I see, I really become unhappy when devotees, when they go through problem, they don't reveal their mind to a trusted devotee. They don't want to seek help. They don't want any guidance. I really feel very sad. They should reveal their mind to a trusted devotee. Or otherwise, we should hear on a regular basis. And when we hear on a regular basis, we connect to that powerhouse of knowledge. So these are the two things from that purport, and that purport is the most important purport I felt. And yeah, so after 100 years of pregnancy, Titi gave birth to 2 sons. And after they were born, there were so many natural disturbances. And inauspicious omens observed. Prabhupada writes, whenever, wherever the natural disturbances are happening, we should understand that the birth of some demonic people has been taken. So here we can see that after the birth of these 2 demons, there were so many disasters. Fire was everywhere, mountains and earth shook, dense clouds covered all the illuminaries, ocean along with the inhabitants wailed loudly, eclipse of the sun and moon happened, she-jackals vomiting fire yelled inauspiciously, dogs cried like singing and weeping, asses run in herds, like this. So many, and also the planetary system. We can see that there was Saturn present, Like that, all inauspicious women were observed, and so after they were born, the father of these two demons, Kashyapa Muni, named them. Again, there is a little bit of information there. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the firstborn was Hiranyaksha, whereas the first conceived was Hiranyakashipu. When the twins are born, it is like this: the first conceived one goes behind the when there are two twins, the first conceived one goes behind the later. So that's why the later conceived one comes out first. And this is what Prabhupada mentioned. So although Hiranyakashipu was conceived first, he was born a little later than Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha, the younger brother, took birth first, then the elder brother, because they were twins. Let me see, there are a couple of things going on in chat box, and it is, sorry, Prabhu, regretfully I have to leave now. No problem, that's okay. Right. Sumed, a small query. Sometimes it is recommended to approach a devotee who is our equal during difficulties. At other times, if the situation is more serious, it is mentioned to approach a senior devotee. How do we discern between the two? Okay, it's a direct message. Yeah. Sumed, so I understand your question. Sometimes we are not very, we may not be very willing to open up our mind to a senior devotee. But the point here is that we should reveal our mind in confidence to a trusted devotee. If we are able to approach an equal to us, of a good character and trustworthy person, we must. And if that person is unable to guide us and provide the necessary console and enlightenment, then it can be taken, escalated, or like can be, then they can approach a senior devotee. But I agree with your point that sometimes, devotees do not want to directly approach a senior devotee. But the thing is, don't bury the head in, what is the phrase, under the sand? Don't bury the head under the sand, or something like that. When there is a difficulty, we should reveal our mind to a trustworthy devotee. It is very important. We all go through this, very much go through this time and again. Our Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction, he writes, isn't it? Dadati pratigruhanati, guhyam akyati pruchyati, guhyam akyati pruchyati. Revealing our mind in confidence to a devotee, and at the same time, if someone reveals their mind, we should hear as well. In this context, we must maintain confidentiality. We must maintain confidentiality. And this is a loving exchange. Rupa Goswami says this is a loving exchange. Okay, so we talked about the firstborn was Hiranyaksha, but first conceived was Hiranyakashipu. But these, as soon as they were born, they were growing like anything, touching like they had like a steel, the bodies like a steel frame, and touching the sky. They shook the earth, the whole planetary system was shaken, and the demigods were, completely hiding from Hiranyaksha. Just like, analogy is given, and when Garuda, the bird, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, when it comes, all the snakes, they hide in the hide here and there. And similarly, the demigods, they hid from the sight of Hiranyaksha. He was so powerful, nobody could do anything. And it is mentioned that Hiranyakashipu had a boon from Brahma, and he was so powerful. His pastime we will discuss in the 7th chapter. We know that entire canto was dedicated to Narasimhadev pastime. So this Hiranyaksha, like that, he was then, he said that no one is able to come and fight me in this upper planetary system. Let's go down. And he entered into the ocean, and all the aquatic got disturbed. Then he entered the residence of Varuna in the lower planetary system beneath the ocean. It's called Vibhavari. And then sarcastically, he said to Varuna, "Oh my lord, give me fight." And Varuna became angry, but he controlled his anger. And then he said that you approach Lord Vishnu, who will be the right match for you. And that's when this chapter ends. But we can, because in the next chapter also there is only one or two things to discuss, so we will move on to the next chapter. Please.
Prabhuji, before you move on, there is another question in the chat box.
Is it? Okay.
Just before Sumed Prabhu.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for your kind advice. Please, can you advise why did Diti not give birth till 100 years? Yeah, this we discussed it actually in our classes. So 2 reasons why Diti did not give birth till 100 years, or like why did she bore the 2 sons for 100 years? 2 reasons. One is selfish reason, another is selfless reason. So the selfish reason is that she was aware that the sons are going to be demonic in nature and cause disturbance to others, and they will be killed by the Lord. Okay, so I'll bear them for some more time. At least as long as they are in my tummy, nobody is going to kill them. That's one reason. And second reason is that she was also thinking about demigods. Oh, if they are born now, they will put the demigods in anxiety. They cause a lot of disturbance to these demigods. Let's postpone their anxiety. Anxiety will be there, but let's postpone their anxiety. So these are the 2 reasons that were given in one of the chapters. So Hare Krishna. Let's move on to the next chapter. We have 15 minutes. Hopefully we'll do that. Yes. Where am I? Okay. Okay, Madhakumar Prabhu. Yes, so if you can kindly ask someone to read how many, there are 28 verses. 2 devotees can read this chapter.
You can take a pick. I'm not sure who all have been asked
Ambada
already.
Prabhu raised. Yeah, Ambada Prabhu, you can read first 14, please.
Okay. Maitreya continued, text 1. The proud and false glorious Daitya paid little heed to the words of Varuna. O dear Vidura, he learned from Narada the whereabouts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and hurriedly betook himself to the depths of the ocean. Text 2. He saw there the all-powerful Personality of Godhead in his boar incarnation, bearing the earth upward on the ends of his tusks and robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. The demon laughed, O amphibious beast. Text 3. The demon addressed the Lord, O best of the demigods, dressed in the form of a boar, just hear me. This earth is entrusted to us, the inhabitants of the lower regions, and you cannot take it from my presence and not hurt by me. Text 4. You rascal, you have been nourished by our enemies to kill us, and you have killed some demons by remaining invisible. O fool, your power is only mystic. So today I shall enliven my kinsmen by killing you. Text 5. The demon continued. When you fall dead, with your skull smashed by the mace hurled by my arms, the demigods and the sages who offer your oblations and sacrifice in devotional service will also automatically cease to exist, like trees without roots. Text 6. Although the Lord was pained by the shaft-like abusive words of the demon, he bore the pain. But seeing that the earth on the ends of his tusks were frightened, he rose out of the water, just as an elephant emerged with its female companion when assaulted by an alligator. Text 7. The demon, who had golden hair on his head and fearful tusks, gave chase to the Lord while he was rising from the water. Even as an alligator would chase an elephant, roaring like thunder, he said, "You are not ashamed of running away before a challenging adversity. There is nothing reproachable for shameless creatures." Text 8. The Lord placed the earth with his sight on the surface of the water and transferred to her his own energy in the form of the ability to float on the water. While the enemy stood looking on, Brahma, the creator of the universe, extolled the Lord, and the other demigods rained flowers on him. Text 9. The demons, who had a wealth of ornaments, bangles, and beautiful golden armor on his body, chased the Lord from behind with a great mace. The Lord tolerated his piercing ill words, but in order to reply to him, he expressed his terrible anger. Text 10. The personality of God had said, "Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle, and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. One who is freed from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging in, for you are bound up by the laws of death."
Carry on, Prabhu. Another 4 verses.
Okay, another 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Text 11. Certainly we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time, because having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. Text 12. You are supposed to be commander of many foot soldiers, and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word. Text 13. Sri Maitreya said, the demon, being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead, became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. Text 14. Hissing indignantly, all his senses shaken by wrath, the demon quickly sprang upon the Lord and dealt him a blow with his powerful mace.
Thank you. Another devotee. Please.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please, Philip Prabhu.
Yeah, text 15. The Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged the violent base blow aimed at his breast by the enemy, just as an accomplished yogi would elude death. The personality of Godhead now exhibited his anger and rushed to meet the demon, who bit his lip in rage, took up his mace again, and began to repeatedly brandish it about. Then with his mace the Lord struck the enemy on the right of his brow. But since the demon was expert in fighting, O gentle Vidura, he protected himself by a maneuver of his own mace. In this way, the demon Araksh Hari,
Aryaksha.
different spelling, and the Lord, the personality of Godhead, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking his own victory. There was keen rivalry between the two combats. Both had sustained injuries on their bodies from the blows of each other's pointed maces, and each grew more and more enraged at the smell of blood on his person. In their eagerness to win, they performed maneuvers of various kinds, and their contest looked like an encounter between two forceful bulls for the sake of a cow. O descendants of Kuru, Brahma, the most independent demigod of the universe, accompanied by his followers, came to see the terrible fight for the sake of the world between the demon and the personality of Godhead, who appeared in the form of a boar. After arriving at the place of combat, Brahma, the leader of thousands of sages and transcendentalists, saw the demon, who had attained such unprecedented power that no one could fight with him. Brahma then addressed Narada, who was assuming the form of a boar for the first time. The Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord, this demon has proved to be a constant pinprick to the demigods, the brahmanas, the cows, and innocent persons who are spotless and always dependent upon worshipping your lotus feet. He has become a source of fear by unnecessarily harassing them. Since he has attained a boon from me, he has become a demon, always searching for a proper combat, wandering all over the universe for this infamous purpose." Lord Brahma continued, "My dear Lord, there is no need to play with this serpentine demon who is always very skilled in conjuring tricks and is arrogant, self-sufficient, and most wicked." Brahma continued, "My dear Lord, you are infallible. Please kill this sinful demon before the demonic hours arrives and he presents another formidable approach favorable to him. You can kill him by your internal potency without doubt. My Lord, the darkest evenings which covers the world is fast approaching. Since you are the soul of all souls, kindly kill him and win victory for the demigods. The auspicious period known as Abhijit, which is most opportune for victory, commenced at midday and has all but passed. Therefore, in the interest of your friends, please dispose of this formidable foe quickly. The demon, luckily for us, has come of his own accord to you. His death ordained by you. Therefore, exhibiting your ways, kill him in the duel and establish the world in peace."
Thank you. So let me see if I can bring this here. So Hiranyaksha, the demon, upon being advised by Varun Dev that that he should fight with Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu will be the right match, perfect match for Hiranyaksha. And he said that he's old, he's not fighting now, he desisted from fighting. So then Hiranyaksha learned from Narada whereabouts of Lord Vishnu. Narada directed Hiranyaksha to the Garbhodaka ocean. That time, Lord Vishnu, having taken the form of Varahadev, is lifting Mother Earth from the Garbhodaka ocean. And Hiranyaksha criticizes the Lord, saying, "O Mruga, beast, as an animal, and I will kill you today," like that. So he criticized the Lord. Lord, he simply took placed that Mother Earth on his tusks, and bring it on top of the waters, and then put it on its original place, and he transferred his energy to the Earth planet, and it could float like that. So people can see that how these entire planetary system is floating. It is by the will of the Lord. So generally, the people who are demonic and atheistic, they think that everything is happening by chance. By chance. We are here by chance. Our whole system was together by chance. The sun is giving light by chance. The Mother Earth is giving so many food grains. It is also by chance. Everything is by chance. No controller, nothing like that. This is what a demonic. This is also said in the Gita. This is what a demonic person thinks. But a devotee knows that this is the plan of the Lord. This is the Lord's arrangement. There is a creator behind everything. So when we see all these planets are floating, we should understand how the Lord's energy is acting. Krishna says, "Gama vishya bhutani darayami aham bojasa." I enter into each planet because of my energy. They are orbiting, staying in their own orbit. So and also the demons, they think that when Lord comes as an animal in the form of an animal, tortoise or fish or boar, they think that it's an animal. But Lord doesn't lose his potency. It's lose his potency, whichever form he takes. Is fully omniscient, all powerful in whichever form he takes. It's for his pastime, for pleasure. He takes different forms. So Lord then replied, we are like animals, but hunting dogs like you. Come on, give up this just talking. Come on, fight. And then they started fighting, and that fighting, Lord took a bit of time. He could have killed immediately with one slap, but Lord just is enjoying. What fun you get if you just kill, like in a battle, you just kill a person with one arrow or one slap just by touching. You don't get that fun. You were just playing. The Lord was playing with Hiranyakashipu for some time. And then in the meantime, Lord Brahma requested that, my Lord, all the demigods are, waiting for the death of this demon. Kindly, please do not delay and, kill him. And he's telling this is the right time, to kill this demon. So that's how this chapter ends. And in the next chapter, Lord just gives him a slap and kills Hiranyaksha. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any thoughts or any questions, comments? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribol, Anil Prabhu.
Just one small question in the previous chapter that Saturn appeared during those appearance of, not appearance, when the Hiranyakshipu and Hiranyaksha were born, appeared in this. So Saturn is appeared means, so is that newly created or some?
No, it is there. It is just manifest. I mean, Saturn dominated light, you know.
Okay,
yeah. That is what Saturn always exists. So, it was not just created; that it just manifested, like it showed its potency. It showed its power. People were affected by Saturn.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
That's how I understood. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Madhakumar Prabhu, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. 2 chapters in 1 second. Wonderful. Prabhu, just a quick one. The messages have already been sent out reiterating that apart from trying to support Bhagavatam study for the adults, we are also trying to cater to the young ones. So at the moment, there is a 6 weeks Bhagavatam course being run for children age 7, 8, 9 and above. The last weekend was amazing. We had some great response. 35 children and their families have registered. Canto 1 and 2 are over, and the next 10 cantos would be completed over the next 5 weeks. So if you know of any families with young children, we'd highly recommend. Lots of interactive activities, questions at the end to check your knowledge, question and answers for children to ask, e-certification for the course, and also Bhagavatam Tales book is being provided. So definitely recommend, if you know of any family with young children, to get them to enroll. 5 more weeks are remaining. The last session that you may have missed, we can share the video recordings. So please pass the word around. A message was sent by the temple number yesterday as well. That's it, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So one important point from these 2 chapters is that when we are going through some anxiety, some problem, then we should approach authority. We should, ideally, if we read books here and some or other, and also we should have connection with one other devotee, trusted devotee, to whom we can reveal our mind in confidence. So that is very important, very practical. We all have to go through. I revealed several times, actually, several times my mind to some of my dear friends. And when I revealed my mind, I felt so happy. Most of my burden is gone down. So we should always have in connection, that connection with 1 or 2 devotees, where to whom we can share our mind. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Mother.
I was just going to say, on the course, even though it's aimed at children, there are a lot of parents also, and all of us are really enjoying being on it. So don't think it's for kids alone. Have a view of the next one and see for yourself. But certainly pass the word around. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, if you are free, I would highly recommend. It gives an overview. My wife was listening to it. She was very, very happy. And that unfortunately I couldn't listen because I was attending another course for last few Saturdays. I will join maybe a week after. It's very nice. It gives a complete overview of Srimad Bhagavatam. I highly recommend. If you have time, please do join and listen to it. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Varaha Dev ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.